Well, good evening, everybody. Today I'm joined by Paddington Bear's cousin. He's called Clapham. Hello, Clapham. How are you? Oh, good. You want some marmalade? Maybe in a moment. Okay. Oh, yes, and I borrowed Big Paddington's hat, although it's a little bit small for me. So today we're going to read Paddington. So, Mr. and Mrs. Brown first met Paddington on a railway platform. In fact, that was how he became to have such an unusual name for a bear, because Paddington was the name of the station, just like you, Clapham. The Browns were waiting to meet their daughter, Judy, when Mr. Brown noticed something small and furry near the left luggage office. "It looks like a bear," he said. "A bear?" repeated Mrs. Brown. "On Paddington Station? Don't be silly, Henry, they can't be." But Mr. Brown was right. He was sitting on an old leather suitcase marked "Wanted on Voyage." Paddington was, not Mr. Brown. And as they drew near it, it stood up and politely raised its hat. "Good afternoon," it said. "May I help you?" It's very kind of you," said Mr. Brown, "but as a matter of fact, we were wondering if we could help you." "You're a very small bear," said Mrs. Brown. "Where are you from? I don't think he was as small as you, though, Clapham, eh?" The bear looked around carefully before replying. "Darkest Peru. I'm not really supposed to be here at all. I'm a stowaway." "You don't mean to say you've come all the way from South America on your own?" exclaimed Mrs. Brown. "Whatever did you do that for, and what did you do for food?" Unlocking the suitcase, the bear took out an almost empty glass jar. "I ate marmalade," it said. Bears like marmalade. Mrs. Brown looked at the label around the bear's neck. It said quite simply, "Please look after this bear. Thank you." You've got one of those, haven't you, Clapham? There's your tag. "Oh, Henry," she cried, "we can't leave him here all by himself. There's no knowing what might happen to him. Can't he come home and stay with us?" "Stay with us?" repeated Mr. Brown nervously. He looked down at the bear. Would you like that?" he asked. "That is," he added hastily, "if you have nothing else planned." "Oh, yes," replied the bear. "I would like that very much. I've nowhere to go, and everyone seems in such a hurry." "That settles it," said Mrs. Brown. "Now you must be thirsty after your journey. Mr. Brown, can you get some tea while I go and meet our daughter Judy?" "But Mary," said Mr. Brown, "we don't even know its name." Mrs. Brown thought for a moment. "I know," she said. "We'll call him Paddington, after the station." Paddington. The bear tested it several times to make sure. Sounds very important. Mr. Brown tried it out next. "Follow me, Paddington," he said. "I'll take you to the snack bar." Mr. Brown was as good as his word. Paddington had never seen so many snacks on one tray, and he didn't know which to try first. He was so hungry and thirsty he climbed up on the table to get a better look. Mr. Brown turned away, pretending he had tea with a bear on Paddington Station every day of his life. "Henry!" cried Mrs. Brown when she arrived with Judy. "What are you doing to that poor bear?" Paddington jumped up to raise his hat, and in his haste he trod on a strawberry tart, skidded on the cream, and fell over backwards into his cup of tea. "I think we better be going before anything else happens," said Mr. Brown. Judy took hold of Paddington's paw. "Come along," she said. "We'll take you home and you can meet Mrs. Bird and my brother Jonathan." "Wow, Clapham, are you getting hungry?" "I think it's time for some marmalade." "Yummy. Paddington marmalade. See you in a minute."